Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Not Live from the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show as we enter game week 40 of Cloud Fantasy Football, and it's the fight to the finish. All to play for as the title running comes down to the final game weeks. So not just in the Premier League, where there's still plenty to play out, but by the end of this round of fixtures, pretty much everything could all be over, or it could still all be up in the air. We won't know until after Tuesday, when the final match, Man City and Bournemouth and Chelsea and Tottenham play each other. The two FA Cup finalists obviously having their fixture shifted to midweek this week. So it could all be done, or it could all be still to go at. And the same when we have a look at the leagues. There's a bit of a gap opened at the top in Cloud Fantasy Football now, but still enough transfers in hand for people to make a final push. So we're going to have a look at the team, see how we got on. It's another good week. Have a look at the match centres, see where those points came from. We'll have a look at the leaderboards. We'll have a look at the fixtures, the last two sets, the final remaining 2-for-1s. We'll have a look at the projections from Solio for the 2 weeks. Have a look at the ownership, see which players can be sold in these extra fixture gains. We'll have a look at the transfers remaining. Team of the week, team of the last few weeks. We'll have a look at the goals and clean sheet projections for this week alone. We'll have a look at the stats. Have a look at my team, see if there's any moves to be made. Then have a quick look forward to the final fixtures a week on Sunday, and then we'll let everybody get off and watch Tottenham v Liverpool, Villa v Liverpool, moreover. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into my team. So 149 points for the week. As I said, another good week. Plenty of City in there. They obviously had the double. So Donnarumma in goal, 18 points. Across the back line, Gabriel 8, Kusanov 10. He was brought in for Ampadu. Disappointing Leeds captain. It was always a planned move. It was going to be Kusanov or O'Reilly. Kusanov started, O'Reilly didn't, so that was an easy move. Mateus Nunes with 8 went off on before the 60th minute, which was a shame. Mark Gahey, who was captain on Wednesday when the team dropped without Haaland in it. Across the midfield, left to right this time, Cherky, who didn't start but came on and got an assist. Semenyo, who did start and scored, so that's 6 and 11. Bruno Fernandes, 2 points, disappointing. Doku, what a find he's been the last 3 games, I think I've had him now, 11 points. Watkins was captain for his goal against Burnley. He'll be captain for tonight's game, Villa against Liverpool. Haaland, he was captain on, must have been Saturday in their first game, against Brentford. So 16 for Watkins and 26 for Haaland, 149 all in all. And there was Ampadu, he got a tackle tier, so 6 points. Disappointing. Those that had Calvert-Lewin for their Leeds double captaincy, well played. They're the ones that have moved up. But I went from 42nd, I think, to 31st, so I can't complain there. So let's have a look and see where his points came from. So the first game was the lunchtime kickoff. Liverpool won, Chelsea won. Disappointing match all round. Gravenberch with a goal for Liverpool. Fernandes with a direct free kick that nobody touched. And the only person that seemed to want to give the goal to anybody else was Alan McCoist on TNT commentary, who was insisting it was Farner's goal. Didn't look like he got anywhere near it to me, and nor did the Premier League. Tier 3's Van Dijk with the passes for Liverpool and Hatto with the tackles for Chelsea. Brighton 3, Wolves 0. Hinchelwood, Dunk and Minter with the goals for Brighton. Tier 3's Dunk and Van Heck back together in harness, both with the passes. João Gomez with 8 tackles for Tier 3 for Wolves. Fulham 0, Bournemouth 1. Goal scorers were Ryan for Bournemouth. Tier 3's just the one, Kearney with the passes for Fulham. Sunderland 0, Manchester United 0. No goal scorers, no tier 3s. Let's move on quickly. Manchester City 3, Brentford 0. This was the tea time game. Doku, Haaland and Marmoush with the goals, all after the hour. Tier 3s, Bernardo Silva with the tackles for City, Haaland with the shots for City as well, Kelleher with the saves, after most people had sensibly moved him on, probably for Donnarumma. Damsgaard with the tackles. Sunday's games, Burnley 2, Villa 2, Anthony and Fleming for Burnley, Barkley and Watkins for Villa. Tier 3's Weiss with the saves for Burnley and Konza with the passes for Villa. Palace 2, Everton 2, Sarr and Mateta with Palace's goals, Tarkowski and Beto with Everton's. Tier 3's Henderson with the saves, Wharton and Munoz with the tackles, and Sarr with the shots for Palace. For Everton, just Pickford with the saves. Forest 1, Newcastle 1. Anderson with the equaliser for Forest. He's been a good player in Cloud this year. Barnes for Newcastle. Tier 3's Sells with the saves, Igor Jesus with the shots for Forest, Pope with the saves, and Bruno Guimaraes with the shots for Newcastle. If he'd have been fit, Bruno G, he'd have been an excellent asset this season. And the tea time game, 4:30. Nothing controversial happened here at all. West Ham 0, Arsenal 1. Goal scorers was Trossard. Tier 3, only Saliba. The farce of the goal, or the non-equalising goal, yes, it was definitely a foul, but whether VAR should be getting involved in that kind of thing, my view is it should be only used for objective decisions, not subjective, and it would probably be something along the lines of ball over the line, yes or no, penalty or free kick, one or the other. It's the foul in the box. Referee must have given the foul. Offsides, yes or no, and get the ref getting the player wrong when somebody was sent off. It was an Arsenal player. I can't remember which one it was, but it was sent off incorrectly. So misidentification of a player, I think that would be something VAR would get involved. The rest, I would just leave it with the ref. But hey ho, that genie is not getting back in the bottle. And then we had Monday Night Football. Tottenham 1, Leeds 1. Goal scorers were Tell, that was a cracker, and a penalty for Calvert-Lewin. Tier 3's Bentancur with the tackles for Tottenham, and Justin with the tackles for Leeds. And then Wednesday night, this was the game that Sky gerrymandered to get into the position they wanted it, from the EFL Cup, which I think was sometime in March. This game's been hanging around, and the qualification for it must have been hanging around since early February. Goal scorers for City were Semenyo, Marmoush and Savinho. Tier 3's Gahey, Kusanov and Bernardo Silva with the passes. Mitchell and Lerma with the tackles for Palace. Look there at Mateus Nunes, as previously, 2-pointer. Went off on the 58th minute. If he'd have made 60, he'd have probably got a passing tier. So that was another 6 points missed. If he'd have stayed on till 90, he could have easily ended up with a tier 3. Hey ho, not to worry. So let's have a look at the league. This is the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show League. In 10th place, Gary Carter, Get Carter 2997. John Logan, FPL Spartans, with his Spartans team, 2,998 in 9th. Jason Harlow, Baked Beans, 3,000. Melvin Poole in 7th, Malvino 11, 3011. Tim Barry in 6th, Can I Just Shock You, 3015. I think Tim's been unlucky with the Arsenal clean sheets. I think he's got less Arsenal than most now. Colin Johnston, Coles Lions, 3026 in 5th. Martin Brown, a Gary Rowell World 11, 3030 in 4th. Ryan Welsh, Arts and Crafts, 3039 in 3rd. Johnny Curry, JC Milan in 2nd, 3041. And FPL Vincenzo's winners, Craig Kemp, 3102. That looks like a done deal in the Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show League. And we'll have a look at the overall leaderboard. This has Martin Brown in 10th, Ryan Welsh in 9th, Johnny Curry in 8th. Then in 7th, Ronnie with Pons, 3044. 6th, Adam Campbell, 147 Elite, 3050. Glenn Murray, the Buccaneers, in 5th, 3053. John Donnelly with ISO Coleridge, 3054. This is the open team we had a look at last week. I'll have a quick look again in a minute. He's in 4th now. Thomas Lovell, Blue Sky Thinking, currently in the bronze medal position, 3055. That's tight. Alex Deakin, currently 2nd place. He is 18 points ahead of Thomas with his Deakin FC, 3073. And then top in this league as well, overall leader is Craig Kemp, FPL Vincenzo's winners, 3102. So it's 29 points is the gap there from 1st to 2nd. Hard to see that being caught, but you never know. Let's have a quick look at John Donnelly's team then. Game week 39, he had Donnarumma, Mateus Nunes, Gahey, Virgil van Dijk still, Gabriel. Gabriel was his captain. Not sure which day that would have been. Must have been Sunday. Yes, because I had Watkins, that's right. So Semenyo, Cherky and Bruno Fernandes in the middle of the park. Haaland, Thiago, still Thiago. Okay. And Calvert-Lewin was his captain on Monday, so he did well out of there. No transfers used last week for John. So see how he's going. He's up to 4th, and he has a gap there of 48 points to Craig at the top. Right. Let's have a look at what's coming up. So this is the fixture layout. This is it now. No more changes. So 2 single game days and 3 non. So Friday, May the 15th, we've got Aston Villa against Liverpool. And then on Sunday, there are 7 fixtures. Basically everybody, 6 fixtures. Brighton visit Leeds, Brentford host Palace, Everton host Sunderland, and Fulham travel to Wolves. Oh, yeah. Man United v Forest is the early kickoff, and then the late kickoff is Newcastle v West Ham. Monday Night Football is Arsenal v Burnley. 2 games on Tuesday. Early, 7:30, is Manchester City visiting Bournemouth. Later one is 8:15, Chelsea hosting Tottenham. And then Sunday, May the 24th, every fixture is a 4 o'clock kickoff. So the last remaining 2-for-1s. So these are teams that you can bring in next week, Monday or Tuesday, to get extra fixtures. So Arsenal, Bournemouth, Burnley, Chelsea, Manchester City or Tottenham. And I realised after I put this together, you can also move off Villa or Liverpool players to anybody playing on Sunday as well, and you still get the 2-for-1. So these are from the Solio team. These are their team projections for 37-38 in FPL. So for us, the remaining 2 weeks. And this hasn't really changed much over the last 3 or 4 weeks that we've been looking at them, to be fair. So Arsenal still top on projected goals because everybody's got the same amount of games to play now. So they've got Burnley and Palace projected to score 3.2 and 1.7, so 4.9 goals for Arsenal. City 2.2 and 2.0 for 4.2. Then you've got a few on the low three, so Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, Brighton, Newcastle, Fulham and Brentford. Everybody else is below 3 for the 2 games. And clean sheets is a bit more marked here as well, probably due to the fixtures more than anything else. I mean, Arsenal have got a good defence, but they also have the easier games. They're looking at 56 and 46%, so an average of 1 clean sheet for the 2 games. City 28 and 38 is 0.7. Then you've got Chelsea and Everton at 0.6. Then several sides at 0.5. So who are we looking at selling to get these extra games? So this is from the Transfer Planner. This is the top 25 owned players in the top 100. And you'll see some orange arrows there next to Bruno Fernandes, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Morgan Rogers, Thiago and Virgil van Dijk. They all play on Friday or Sunday, and they can be moved then on to either Arsenal, City, Chelsea, or if you fancy it, Tottenham, Bournemouth or Burnley players. And for Virgil and for Morgan Rogers, you can move them on to anybody that's playing on Sunday as well. So Bruno Fernandes, 84%. I imagine he's going to be most captain Sunday. I'll be interested to look at that ownership figure before the final weekend to see how many people have used that money to move off to another player. You'll notice there's no Arsenal attackers other than Saka, who's at 17%. So Gyökeres must be less than 9% owned. I think both of those will go up on Monday, and I'll be interested to see Fernandes, whether people need the money, whether he comes down. You've got the likes of Calvert-Lewin, who's cheap, Rogers, who's average, Thiago, who's cheap, and Virgil, who is expensive, but is a defender. So will people have extra defenders they can sell for? Maybe you could come off Virgil for an Arsenal defender if you think they're going to get 2 clean sheets, 20 points. The last 2 weeks seems to be the attacking upside. Certainly in the last game week of the season, there tends to be more goals. Not in every game, but overall tends to be more goals than normal. So I'll be interested to see how many of those. I was quite surprised by how high Calvert-Lewin was, still in over half of the teams in the top 100. Maybe if the City team had been slightly different on Wednesday, that could have changed. But again, that would be another one that's interesting to look at sort of before the final week to see how many people are still left with Mr. Calvert-Lewin. So this is the transfer count. So on the left is last week's. So the top 100 had 3, so did the top 50. Top 10 had 4.6. This week, the top 100 and the top 50 have both used 1 each to come down to 2. But the top 10, less than half a transfer used on average per person in the top 10, still with 4.2. So where are they going to use those moves? It'll be interesting. And if there's a few in the top 10 that have got similar average to the top 50 and the top 100, there's 1 or 2 people there that have got plenty of transfers in hand. Could there be some hokey-cokey moves even next week? Be interesting to see how that pans out. So this is team of last week. No surprise to see City assets to the fore. What we've got there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. And those that are interspersing them, we've got 1 from Palace, 2 from Brighton and 1 from Everton. So Donnarumma in goal. Across the back, So Donnarumma got 18, Dunk 18, Gahey 17, Tarkowski 13, De Kuyper 13. In the middle, 4-4-2 this week. Foden 13, Sarr 13, Bernardo 11 and Doku 11. And a double City attack of Marmoush and Haaland 14 and 13. So they scored between them 154 points. And for the last 6 game weeks, Donnarumma in goal. He's done me well, 40 points. It's 4-3-3, this formation. Gahey and Mateus Nunes, 57 and 38. Mukiele 36, Mavropanos 36. I think that brace from what seems like a while ago now, but it can only be 6 weeks maximum ago. 36 points for him. Doku, Gibbs White and Cherki in the middle, 44, 42 and 37 respectively. And up front, Haaland 40, Okafor 36 and Igor Jesus 36. Those that held Okafor were unlucky he was injured before Monday night's captaincy. So this is goals and clean sheet projections. This is from not only FPL, Mike Warlow's site. For those that don't know, Mike's done the background work for Cloud Fantasy Football. This is his own website, not only FPL, where you've got stats there for every single game that people play. Great website to be at, not only fpl.co.uk. So this is his goals and clean sheet projections. These come from SpreadX. So tonight, Villa against Liverpool, 1.64 and 18% for Villa, 1.77 and 21% for Liverpool. It's quite important, this match now. Liverpool in 4th, Villa in 5th. Both drew last weekend, so still need points. They're trying to hold off Bournemouth and Brighton. And Brentford to an extent, although I think Brentford is slightly too far behind now. So yeah, it's mainly Bournemouth and Brighton for Champions League qualification positions. So whoever you have from Villa and Liverpool, I think it's going to be captain tonight. If you don't have anybody, you'd need to be one of those transfer-heavy players to be bringing anybody in. Could be anything that game. There's no real indication. I think Villa will go strong. Liverpool will be as strong as they can be, which isn't great at the minute. Then early kick-off Sunday. Obviously, no matches on Saturday. It's the FA Cup final. So early kick-off Sunday, Man United 2.17 and 32%, Nottingham Forest 1.17 and 13%, a safe Forest and an injury-ravaged Forest. I can see United doing well. Casemiro's last game, as we see when we look at the stats in a bit, those that have held on to the Brazilian, he's done well for you. Could be a last hurrah in front of the Old Trafford fans. 3 o'clock, Brentford 2.03 and 32% against Palace 1.19 and 16%. Brentford still pushing for European spots. Palace, I think they'll be near a full strength this week. Their Conference League final isn't until a week on Wednesday. So I think they'll go full strength against Brentford and see how the land lies for their final game. Wolves 1.26 and 17% against Fulham 1.84 and 29%. Fulham have dropped out of all of the European spots apart from minor places now. Needs I think they will need 2 wins to have a chance. Everton 1.76 and 33% against Sunderland 1.13 and 19%. Everton similar boat to Fulham, they're 1 point ahead on 49 compared to 48. Leeds 1.41 and 19% against Brighton 1.74 and 25%. Brighton are currently in 7th, 2 points behind Bournemouth. If Villa win the Europa League, then 6th gets a Champions League place as long as Villa don't finish 4th or higher in the league. Super Sunday, it's 5:30 rather than 4:30 this week because it's mainly Saturday kickoff times on Sunday. So Newcastle 1.91, 21%, West Ham 1.62 and 17%. If West Ham don't win, then Tottenham on Tuesday can seal their own safety and West Ham's relegation. Arsenal on Monday against Burnley, 3.25 and 57%. Against Burnley, 0.59 and 6%. This could be important for Arsenal. It's the only way that goals can come into it is if Arsenal get 4 points and City get 6. So that's a win and a draw for Arsenal and 2 wins for City. Then it will come down to goal difference. So will Arsenal be going to get a lot of goals on Monday against Burnley, give them an added safety net for their final game? Be interesting to see. I think if they get 1 or 2 early, then the floodgates might open. If they don't score early, then they might be happy with a 1-2 goal win and then bring it to the final day. Tuesday, the earlier game, 7:30, Bournemouth 1.3 and 12%, against City 2.2 and 27%. Could be a tricky game that for City, depends on how the FA Cup final goes. By the time we get there, we'll know the lineup and we'll know what state City are in. And then Chelsea 1.86 and 24%, against Tottenham 1.49 and 17%. If West Ham have done the business at St James's Park on Sunday, Chelsea will fancy doing their North London rivals. Well, there is a bit of a rival there between Chelsea and Tottenham, but in the Battle of the Bridge, the year that Leicester won the league. So if there's something in it for Chelsea to knock Tottenham over, then it'll be interesting to see. Chelsea, same points as Everton at the minute, 49. So if Brighton and Brentford have slipped up, they could have something to try and get into the bigger European pots for the following season. We shall see how we go. Right then, a look at the stats. So I have moved this now to game week 27, which was the week that the Arsenal-Wolves fixture was brought forward. So, as I said, Casemiro, he's currently second for points in that time. 64 points in 772 minutes. Let's have a look how that looks on a chart. So these are the filtered players by combined points. So Morgan Gibbs-White at the top, 75 points in that period. Casemiro and Guéhi and Bruno Fernandes are those that are over 60. Then in the 50s, Hermansen. You remember when I brought Jorgensen? There's a bad keeper move. If I'd have brought Hermansen at the time and kept him, A, he's cheaper, and B, look how many points he's got there, 57. And then the others in the high 50s, Jesus, Mavropanos, Verbruggen. So Gyökeres has 54 points in that period, and his ownership in the top 100 is a minimal. This is their points per 90. So Gibbs-White has been up at the top anyway. Igor Jesus is one that's sticking his nose above the parapet. Gyökeres there, 9.08. Welbeck and Beto, 2 more. João Pedro and Sesko. We look at the tier points. So Casemiro at the top there, 25. Bernardo's been doing very well, 24. Caicedo at 22. Ampadu at 20. Didn't do it when you needed it for captain, mister. And we look at the ownership. So this is very similar to what we looked at earlier. So number of City players at the 4 here. Haaland 98, Guéhi 96, Mateus, he's on 81, Semenyo 79, Cherki 66, Donnarumma 56, O'Reilly 24, Kusanov now 18, Doku 16. And this is how their points per ownership. Obviously, the points there is from game week 27. So, like Gibbs-White, low owned, high points. Guéhi and Fernandes, they've done very well for everybody all season long. Thiago's still there, hanging around 25%. What's he on there? 75 odd points in that time. Saliba, another one that's still doing well. And Raya. So those on the Arsenal defence and City attack, or a mixture, very well done. have a quick look at the passes chart. So Rodri, the only one in the green. Several there in the orange now. Dunk, Jones, Chalobah, Ruben, Diaz, Nico Gonzalez, Saliba and Virgil van Dijk. Shots, nobody at all. Only 2 pushing the orange bonus. There's Sesko and Haaland. Tackles, 4 in the orange. Ugarte, Palhinha, Igrabunam and Dominguez. And for saves, Vice. Who knew? Clearly need to be white hot goalkeeper there. Played the once, 5 saves, the only one in green, nobody in orange even, and quite a few of those keepers. It's been difficult to get saved here, shall we say. All right, let's have a look at the team. So this was my move on Wednesday. So Ampadu for Kusanov. I have 2 transfers left, and I had already penciled in Gyökeres for Watkins on Monday, and I'm almost certainly going to do Bruno Fernandes to Saka also on Monday, and that will be my final transfers. That will leave me going into the final day of the season with 8 City and 3 Arsenal players. And then when we look to next week, this is from Rob T at the Solio team. This is what is called motivation mismatches. Now, we won't know the extent of this until we reach game week. Well, it's going to be 41 in Cloud, but a week on Sunday. And they're suggesting that Tottenham and Everton has got something for both sides to play on. Tottenham still could be fighting relegation. Everton could be looking at European qualification. Liverpool against Brentford. Again, Liverpool could be looking at Champions League qualification. Brentford could be looking at European qualification. Then there's a couple here with nothing to play on. So Forest have got 0, and they're playing Bournemouth, who are almost certain to be playing for some kind of European qualification. Same Brighton against Manchester United. Brighton looking for European qualification. Man United have held up in 3rd. Sunderland and Chelsea. I'm not convinced that Sunderland, that 29%, has got that needs quite a few results to go their way for them to be looking at European qualification in 9th. Chelsea 59 could be all over for them. West Ham against Leeds. That's all dependent on this week's games to see if West Ham are still playing for something next week. City against Villa. Again, this week's fixtures will tell us a lot there. Fulham and Newcastle. Newcastle almost certainly next to nothing. Fulham, it's going to be for minor places. Palace against Arsenal. Again, Palace with nothing to play for. Arsenal could be still playing for the league. And then Burnley v Wolves, the relegation derby. Obviously, neither of them got anything to play for. So, with transfers remaining, my suggestion has always been to use them in the final midweek to get your extra fixtures. If you've got a lot and you want to leave a punt back for the final week, then it's up to you. But I would be going for the fixture route myself. The final game week's always unpredictable. A lot of goals often. Home sides tend to do well. So this graphic's really for your captaincy, is to work out who's got something to play for and then stick your armband on them. Things that we'll know at that time, well, the Prem table for one, after the 37th match for each side, give us a better idea of who's got what to play for in the 38th. Fairly obvious to say that, but it's still true. We all know whether Villa have won the Europa League and how that pans out for Champions League qualification, and whether Villa need to do anything or whether they'll still be drunk from either winning or losing the match against Freiburg on Wednesday. And we might know something of Palace's intentions ahead of their Conference League final, which is a week on Wednesday. So that's all to play for next weekend. It's bank holiday weekend as well, so I am away. I won't be here next Friday for a preview of the final week. We will be here for a review and to look and see how it all pans out the following week. But in the meantime, we shall leave everybody to go and watch the football tonight. Hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy the football, enjoy the cup final, and then we'll see how it all pans out, and we'll be back for a review after the final set of fixtures. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you want to subscribe to the channel, please do, and we'll see you after the final set of fixtures have been played. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers. Bye for now.